Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Final Whistle with myself, Sanan Mangisa. But there's something you and I agree on, and the gents challenged me last week on this. I said, Beast, 100, but thank you very much after that.
I disagree.
Okay, we're going to get, a few guys disagree, and that experience, I'm not saying totally out the squad, but I'm saying that there's guys breathing down his necks that are playing much better. That whole, he's coming off at 60, the other guys are playing 20 minutes. These guys are going to outplay him in a few test matches to come.
Yeah, and I think to answer that sense is that you need to look at the team now as a full-on 23-man squad, and not only 15. I think this is what, I know I hate referencing the All Blacks, but this is what they do very well in terms of a unit. I mean, if you look at that team, it's not a team of 15 on the field and the rest are reserves. It's a squad of 23 players who know their role and know when their time is to come on. So if you look at Beast over 100 tests, I mean, I don't recall a day where Beast let the box down in the box jersey. So I mean, that goes a long way for a prop over 100 test matches, and also different coaches and areas. In terms of dips and troughs, he's always been there and he's always done his job well. Going to what we're at currently, yes, agree. I mean, everyone agrees that Spicy Plum is playing well. I mean, he's having the game of his life at the moment.
Right now.
Steve Kitshoff. But again, it's talking about it as a unit. So Kitshoff comes on after Beast has actually worked the opposition tight end prop for, call it, a good 50 minutes in terms of doing really the hard yards, doing the grafting. He comes on, he's fresh legs, okay, very powerful scrummager, but also he adds another dynamic in terms of ball carrying. I think his ball carrying ability is another big advantage that he has as a player in terms of Steven Kitshoff. So ideally what I would still like to see is Beast starting and Kitshoff still coming through. Then maybe as we finish off the year, when we get to call it the end of year tour, we're seeing Kitshoff starting earlier, and then call it World Cup time, because you know that Beast will probably be a bit older then. He's actually at a point where Kitshoff is starting, and then Beast is probably actually calling at the end. But I mean, I wouldn't want to actually.
That's a compromise, and we can settle for that. I think that's a compromise. But let's agree that Beast's time is winding up, and we can't even make the argument that he's wearing down the opposition, because that kid is scrumming better than Beast is scrumming, and he's playing off the ball better than Beast is playing off the ball. Those are irrefutable facts. Or let me say that's what I'm seeing on the field. But so I hear you that you know it's 23-man team and you have to use the dynamics and change. But New Zealand makes sure that kickoff, they've got the best guys on the field. So if we have views that there's a guy who's on the bench who could be doing better than the guy who's on the field, my view is that start with the guy who's on the bench who's better. Don't. Because again, if we play New Zealand and we are playing people because they have a history, they have a record, and so forth, we've done that already. We've played with Matfield and Smith when they were well over the hill. So I think we should just make sure that we give space to young guys to come up. And this guy, Spicy Plum, is not even young anymore. And my fear is that it's a South African trend where we do this to all the players, even with your Damien Willemse. You don't want to give those young guys that
19-year-old can't play his part.
Cool. And I get the point. I suppose what I can add to the same thing again, when you talk about Kitshoff playing better than Beast, I mean, one may counter argue again that Kitshoff is not starting test matches. He's coming on the 50th minute. Okay, now a tight forward in 50 minutes is actually really tight. Most tight forwards actually start coming off from 50th minute up. Okay, so yes, he's scrumming well, and yes, he's playing well, which I agree. But I don't think we can ignore 100 test caps from Beast. And also, you need to kind of look at the full team dynamic and say, okay, in the team that I've actually got on the field, the 15, okay, what is the range of caps that I've got, you know? And I think what's also really helped Sia in these two games is the support that he's been getting from a guy from Beast who's captained the Sharks, a guy like Dwayne Vermeulen who's captained the Stormers, and they're natural leaders within that team. So from a team dynamic, it does help. Okay, but I think what we're saying is that now that he's done 100 tests, I wouldn't say cheers Beast by Kitshoff coming, you know. I would rather have a proper succession plan where Vision 2019 is that Kitshoff is starting, but obviously we're going to do it in a way that we give him more tests while we make sure that Beast actually still helps Sia build a cohesiveness within the team, and we're actually a stronger cap team going to World Cup. I think if you look at New Zealand, if you look at the All Black team that's won the World Cup, okay, the average tenure I think those guys have in tests is about 20 to 25 up. Okay. Debutants don't win World Cups.
No.
You know, and that's another big thing. And this is a new team. We must also remember that particular factor.
The question I was going to ask you is, I wonder if we've ever had a captain where we say he needs so many captains behind him to captain. So you have Dwayne Vermeulen, he helps Siya Kolisi with leadership. Now you're saying Beast also helps him with leadership.
But I can say the same with John Smith and Victor Matfield.
But it wasn't.
John was supported by Victor a great deal.
But gentlemen, sorry,
it wasn't widely argued that you had 3 people that were supporting him, that this captain needs such a huge support system.
Almost, yeah.
No, I'm not meaning in that particular light. I'm meaning in the light of, I'm taking no credit away from Siya as a captain.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that around him, when it comes to experienced players, he's got those guys. Remember John Smith, guys, had a lot of experienced players around him. He had Jean de Villiers and Jacques Fourie, who had played over, I think, 60 tests together as a combination.
Yeah.
He had Fourie Dupree and Mornay Steyn, who had played a lot of tests together as a combination. He had Victor Matfield, let's call it his right-hand man, also give him support. So that's the kind of support I'm talking about, that you've got experience around you who can actually bring calm to the camp.
Well,
taking nothing away from Sia's leadership.
I agree with
taking
you.
nothing
On
away from
that,
Sia's leadership.
is that not better for Siya right now when you trying to find your own game? I mean, we've seen Siya play a lot better than he's playing now, but he's playing well. But to say he's captaining, yes, and he's also trying to find his own game at the same time, to have those guys who just experience, they've been around the block and twice.
Look, if the argument is about Beast versus Spicy Plum is not a kid off the bench. I'm sorry to call him that, but that's the nickname we give him. He's not a kid off the bench. So Siya Kolisi and him have quite a good history in the Stormers, and they've played well together for a very long period of time. So that support system exists. Okay. So yes, it helps for Siya to have a support system, but let's not exaggerate it. Let's not want that support system more for a black captain than you did for the white captain. I read an article in the Business Day that said that I don't know if you saw it, that Siya has got a nice family environment, therefore it helps him be a better captain. And I was saying, you never said this about any other white captain, that he comes from a solid family. So I'm just saying, you're right, let's not put too much pressure on him, but at the same time, all of a sudden, I have never seen so much need for
support structure.
Co-captains. Yeah. What more co-captains? I hear a support structure, the team must rally behind their captain, but we mustn't say there's a vice captain, there's a second vice captain, there's another support system.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Siya, yes, he's captain undoubtedly, and I say I take nothing from Siya. I mean, the calm that he's actually got from the guys, it's no easy feat to take a team 24-3 down and 12-0 down and lead them to a victory. I'm taking nothing away from Sia's captaincy. I'm just talking about the unit of the team, and I can make the same example with Richie McCaw. Richie McCaw has always had the privilege of having experienced guys around him as a leader that he could actually work with. I mean, he's had Kieran Reid for a number of years, who came in and became the succession plan of that. He's had Daniel Carter, who's also played plenty of test matches. He's had Conrad Smiths. He's had the front row forwards in terms of that particular experienced team that goes in and helps him. Classic example again, if you look at the test we played against the All Blacks last year, I think it was a test that we played here in South Africa. A key variable in that test is that Ben Smith had more test caps than the whole Springbok backline put together if he had taken up Brian Abana, which goes a long way within the team. And that's the only emphasis I'm saying. Again, I'm making my point. I'm not saying Siya needs a co-captain, CEO type standard bank situation. I'm saying that it helps to be in a situation where
experienced guys around you,
and you can actually work with them because you bring the cohesiveness of the team. Because remember, what's also happened is that with respect, the strategy that Heineken Meyer had adopted going into World Cup by bringing in a all crop of guys who basically were going to win the tournament for him didn't work for him. But then what we also lost out on is a generation of players who are the new blood coming in. Yeah. So if you look at again the balance now in terms of the most experienced campaigners, you've got a lot of guys without caps, and you've got a few guys with a lot of test caps, and that's kind of the bridging and balancing that you need to get together.
But Kitshoff plays in the middle of that. As I'm saying, you're not talking about a kid who's coming off like a Damien Willems.
Now I was making a point about Siya now.
No. Remember the original argument comes from Kitshoff versus Beast, and experience versus less experience. So I'm saying South Africa has always taken the conservative role or approach to rugby. So we've never had a shortage of experienced men in the field. Seldom do we do that.
Last year we did.
Well, most of the World Cups we've gone to, we've had an overwhelming amount of experienced people in the World Cup teams that we've gone through. So much so that we've pulled people off hospital beds.
Retirements.
And so I'm just saying, we also shouldn't fear And perhaps at a broader level, we shouldn't fear the prospect of young guys. If you don't test them now, you're definitely not going to test them at the World Cup.
Yes.
So if you're saying we don't know what this kid can do if he starts, how are we going to find out?
You're not going to find out
because if Beast gets run down now and he gets exhausted, you are saying that Kitshoff must be starting in the World Cup at a test level. You're saying he hasn't really started at.
Also cricket guys,
but I'm agreeing with
they
you.
got themselves into. You get to a World Cup, your guy that you were banking on is done.
But he's right. Ngo's right. It's just a question of balance. So I thought when he was saying, you can work towards the World Cup, having more young guys coming up. It's a compromise that we should rather take.